Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited today. I have Dr. Joa Macnalie Clarcios. Did I
Yes, you
pronounce it
got
right?
it.
I got it. One of the last name is French, so I was struggling with that a little bit. But anyway, she's the Runaway Realtor, and I'm so pleased and proud and honored that she's here today at the 10th time the Spotlight Show by Rita Moon. So,
Thank
yay!
you for
Welcome,
having me.
welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. So let's dive into it really quickly because I know that we both can talk and we have a lot of material to cover. So can you share how did you become the branding that you have, the Runaway Realtor? How that
Okay.
happened?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So I think to bring us to the present, I got to take you back a little bit into my history to
Okay.
understand. So before my debut into real estate, my background is in education. So I have my PhD in education and a specialty in curriculum and instruction.
That's where it comes, the doctor comes.
That's where the doctor
Okay.
comes into play. So before real estate, I was working on my PhD and finishing that. But a couple of years before my PhD, again, I was always into education and teaching and speaking. And in 2017, when I finished my master's degree, I wrote a few international best-selling books. And so these books took me around the country. They won many awards. I was in many magazines, radio shows, television, all the stuff. But to answer your question, how I became the Runway Realtor is through that experience of writing the books and going through my PhD. Because when you are an independent author, you are not backed by anybody. You are your own person, your own marketer, your own PR person, your own everything, right? So I had to learn very early how to market myself to stand out amongst giant publishing houses, right? So you have like Penguin, you have Simon and Schuster, you have Macmillan. So I was like, I'm against some big competition as an independent author. So I had to figure out how I was going to stand out quickly. So marketing really became my machine. That was my golden ticket. That was what made me stand out amongst a sea of authors, amongst a sea of publishers. I was different because I had the marketing. So these books took me around the world. And so when I transitioned into real estate, it kind of was the same work, right? I knew there's so many realtors, there's a sea of realtors, especially in Central Florida. How was I going to stand out in real estate? So I knew branding was my lane, marketing was my lane. So when I first came in there, I knew that I branded because I had not seen any realtor do that. People have names in real estate, right? Like there's a Gary Keller or even Ryan Serhant, right? There's names in real estate, but I didn't see anyone branding. And so I thought that was my lane. So I came in as the Runway Realtor.
I love it. I love it. And you definitely stand out with the Runaway. And you put so much into for your brand, your clients, and it shows. So that's
Thank you.
important to say. So let's talk about, you're talking about building the strong brand. How important is the branding for the agents? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Why this is so important?
So to understand the importance of branding, we got to talk about the power of branding. So when you think about the yellow golden arch, that M, the first thing that's going to come to mind is McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
When you see the two G's, it's Gucci, the two C's, Chanel, LV, Louis Vuitton, right? So these people have become a master in making you or keeping them at the top of your mind. That's the power of branding. So that even if they're not selling, once you see the branding, you automatically know, right? That's power. So that's the importance of it is if you are branded correctly, you have power. And so when I go in there, right, I have the two R's, right? You've seen my logo, the Runway Realtor with the key and the two R's, and then the red carpet. Here's the funny thing about this question too that you asked, right? I've seen a lot of people use the red carpet, but people what they associate the red carpet with the Runway Realtor. That's the difference with branding.
Why you think that is happening? Why do you think you mastered that you were able to link and join the two?
So I think there's a difference between use and there's a difference between embodying. I think people use the red carpet. I think I embody the red carpet, and that's different. So anyone can use a red carpet, blue carpet, rainbow carpet, right? But do you embody the experience? Do you embody the culture? Do you embody the service that you want to give to your clients, right? And so I've been able to do it so well, and I don't say that to brag. I say that because that's the part of the experience that I'm giving my clients, right? The red carpet experience. That's my slogan, that my clients become the billboards for me because then they tell everybody about the experience that they've received. So for me, it's not, I don't just use the red carpet because it's something cute, something to do. It's embodying my entire personality, my entire brand, and the experience that I give to my clients.
And I love that because for some people, buying a home or a property is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's their it's like the beginning of wealth, the beginning of like being able to fulfill a dream. So it should be celebrated. It should not be, in my opinion, it should not be treated like a transaction, no? It should be treated like it's a big deal. And you do that so well for them,
Thank you so.
you
I
know?
am so with you on that because I tell my clients that, right. I don't care if you're buying a house for $100,000 or if it's $999,000, right. That's a 6-figure or more purchase. We're gonna celebrate like it's a 6-figure or more purchase, okay. And like you said, I loved what you said. For some people, even buying one house, their first home, that may be their forever home, is the best that they can do. For me, I'll just speak about me, right? A lot of homes for a lot of people is about generational, not just wealth, but breaking generational curses, being able to pass down something that was never given to them, right? So it's a big deal. And because I have that background and because I come from unfortunately, I didn't have things passed down to me. So I have a thing that I say, if you don't come from something, it should come from you.
I love
So
that. I really love that.
thank you. So that's when I go into the experience and I give that to clients. I have that in mind, right? For some people, this may be the best that they're going to do. This may be the thing that they're going to pass down. This may be the generational curse that they're breaking in real time. So I make it super fun because buying a house, it can be stressful if you let it.
Yeah.
See, I think what makes me different is that I don't let my clients feel the stress of home buying. I make it fun and exciting and smooth so that they're like, oh, and then they're informed about the whole process. So,
Yes. And I can be a testimony of that. And I just want to highlight something here because my audience will know, they don't know this. You're really young. Okay. So she's like an old soul. She talks like she's older than me, but I'm like 20 something years older than her, to be quite honest. And it's so beautiful to see. And by the way, I have to congratulate her publicly here because she just turned being the rookie of the year at Keller Williams, Claremont. So yeah,
yay.
so I have to do a shout out to you because it was good to see. It was beautiful to see pricing start so quickly. You know how you escalate that, how you were so focused in making it happen. I saw all the hardships, the struggles, and at the end when I saw you walking there to receive all the, not only one, all the awards that you received that night, it was beautiful, and I was super proud of you, and I know your family was too.
Thank you
So
so much,
so
Rita.
that's something that I wanted to highlight here in this podcast, that it is possible. It is possible to come like from a background that maybe, like you say, things are not handed to you, but you still are able to make it. You still able to shine, even despite of what people think about you. Let's talk about that a little bit. She said when I met her, obviously she has a big personality. She exudes a lot of confidence,
Mhm.
which is interesting to me. So being so young and so new in the market, being able to exude confidence like that. Like, have you done this before? No, but it's okay. Have you, like branding yourself in that matter and in that space and entering rooms that maybe some people will not welcoming you so much, or you might make people a little bit uncomfortable because you are shining so bright. And I was a witness of that. I have seen that happen when you have entered this room,
Mhm.
and I don't say anything, but it's like interesting to watch. And the most interesting thing is watch you And I saying this because I think you can help a lot of women out there, that are in a similar position that
Mm.
you.
Mhm.
And I know it's your purpose is that too, helping people. So how do you navigate um entering in a new completely tough industry, because real estate is really tough in all the aspects,
It is.
not only the sales aspect, but in everything. So how do you were able to navigate that, do it quickly, successful, flawless, because this woman look put together,
Look who's talking.
flawless, and then being able to be an example for your family, your friends, for the community, for everybody, and not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. Because I see a lot of people and I met a lot of people, and sometimes they talk and talk and talk, but the talk doesn't match the
Mm,
numbers
mm,
and doesn't match anything that they're doing.
mm.
Maybe doesn't even match the brand. But with you hasn't been like that. So I know this is a big um, question that I'm asking and loaded, but I just want you to, in that space, talk a little bit about that. How you did it, how you didn't mind the naysayers, how did you rise above, how you pull and push through the hard times. And you say something to me, and I want to lead with this because I ask you this question personally in
Mhm.
our talks,
Mhm.
and you say to me, Rita, I was born 17 pounds. 17 pounds, bless your mom, you know. And you say to me, I was never here
To
meant
play
to be
small.
played small. So
Mm.
let's talk.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Wow, what a big and important question. This is probably like one of my favorite questions right here,
Yeah.
because I do think that it's going to help a lot of people,
Mhm.
those who want the help anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to lead with that, actually. Being born
Yeah.
17 pounds. People don't believe that, but I was actually born 17 pounds. And actually, my aunt right now, who still lives in Haiti, is in the process of getting the papers for me so I can officially prove this to people, because I get tired of having to call my family to verify this, right? So I was born 17 pounds big. That makes me the second largest baby born in the world. Just a fun fact, the largest was 21 pounds in Italy. So that makes me already born into history.
Where did you were born?
I
You
was
were
born in
born
Gaumont, Haiti.
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 People know that Haiti have a special place in my heart.
So I was born 17 pounds
Mm.
big, and I really think that's the soundtrack of my life. I never came to play small. I came to get everything that I came for. And so when you speak about confidence, because that's so important, where does confidence come from? That's where I want to kind of lead this with, right? Confidence for me comes from two things, is knowing who you are and knowing whose you are. Okay. For me personally, my confidence is built in my faith. Who I am is built in the identity that God, Jesus Christ, has spoken about me from the beginning of time.
Beautiful.
So I never got my identity, not from my mom, not from my dad, not from my sisters or my brothers. Not saying that those things are not important, but my identity I always found in the Word of God, in how He described me and what He calls me to and what my purpose is. And so I've always been secure because my identity is rooted in the one who created me. So I can't be shaken by opinions or people not liking me or people not wanting me to, bring it down or, simmer,
People tell you that
oh,
sometimes,
they call
no?
me extra. You're so extra. Tone it down, right?
How that
And
feels to
it
you?
doesn't feel like anything. It feels like a projection of maybe something you're dealing with that you're trying to project on me. Because here's what I know. Two flowers can bloom in the same garden, right? Two different flowers are allowed to bloom in the same garden. I have no problem with someone who has a lot of shine shining. That's what stars do. They shine.
Yeah.
So asking a star to dim their light really does not make any sense. I'm actually of the mind that I want to empower you to bring out the light in you. See, because I don't see you as competition. And when I say you, I'm not saying you. I'm saying I don't see anyone as my competition, because I know who I am and whose I am. I'm in my lane, right? And so someone else's shine doesn't dim mine. I can shine, you can shine, we can all shine. In fact, we should all be doing that. If we were all shining, there'd be less jealousy, there'd be less envy, there'd be less problems in the world, right?
This world will be a better
It
world.
would be a
Yeah.
better place if all of
Yeah.
us were really living to the
Mhm.
potential of what God has called us to.
Mhm.
Now, I know everyone doesn't believe in God and, eat the meat and spit the bones, right? Whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
But as for me, my confidence is really rooted in my faith. And so, how do I deal with people not liking me? Because you've seen that, Rita. People, when I
Mhm.
walk in a room, I haven't had conversations with these people. Sometimes I don't know them, but they already have an opinion of me. They've already made a judgment of me. Listen, it comes with the territory, right? Greatness. Let me take this even further back. Jesus Christ, who was a man without sin, who was blameless, they found fault in him. They found a cause to hate him. I have plenty faults and
Mhm.
faults. So how much more are people going to dislike me? It's knowing that I'm not in here. I didn't come to real estate to be liked. That's nice. I came into real estate to build generational wealth for my family, to pass on legacy, to do something that has never been done in my family tree. And when I'm gone, long when I'm gone, people will be talking about these things the seeds that I've planted for all of my life. And so the noise is not even going to matter. I think that's noise and it's distraction.
And I think it's very well put it how you verbalize. I have been in rooms too. I can
Mm-hmm.
sympathize with you that I enter internationally, nationally in sales. Sales is brutal
Mm-hmm.
in general, but that they underestimate me so
I
much.
like that though,
I
Rita.
like it too. And that's my secret. And
It's
we
my
talk about
secret
it.
power.
We talk about it. It's my secret power too. Because as much as you don't see me, as much as you underestimate me, first of all, it's your loss. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a lot to offer, like
Mm-hmm.
you too. Nobody knew.
No.
If it's not because I took the time to sit down and have lunch with you and get to know you, I was so surprised. All the people that you know, first of all, high level people. Second of all the books you write, everything you have done in such a short period of time, I was really amazed by it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this not to like make you have a big head. It's just like it's an accomplishment
Yeah.
that I never knew, you know?
But it goes back to what you were saying, right? I don't walk around sharing that information, right? Not because I'm hiding it or anything. I just think the right place, the right time, the right rooms, the right people, these things naturally come out.
Come out.
You and I had a natural connection, a natural relationship. We went to lunch. It was amazing. That whole day was amazing.
Thank you.
And naturally, we had that conversation where you learned about me, right? See, I don't lead with that. And again, that's my secret power because I want people to underestimate. I like when they underestimate me. I like when they
I
thought that I
agree
was a
with you.
rookie coming into in the industry. And, I read the stats, right? Most realtors, their first year sell 0 to 1 house. 55% of realtors right now in 2025 sold 1 house. I knew the stats. I knew the stories. I knew what was against
But
me.
what make you different is you didn't think like that about you.
That was their story. That was not
Exactly.
my
That's not your
story.
story.
That
So
was not the
this is
story I told
important to
myself.
highlight. And can you highlight that a little bit for any minority woman, like color woman, Latin woman, any type of minority that is starting in an industry? Do not listen to their stories.
Listen, everybody has a story to tell, right? And everyone is telling a story. Some people, when they tell the stories, it's not even that they have bad intentions for you, right?
Mhm.
But maybe it's out of fear. You have to understand their experiences and how they develop that story. So a lot of
Mhm.
times they're using their own filters to make these opinions and judgments for you.
Mhm.
And this goes back to knowing who you are and whose you are. What is your purpose? What is the thing that you're supposed to be doing? Because a lot of people will tell you a lot of things and how to do it. And this is what you should be doing. This is how you should be doing it. If you're not aware of the thing you are called to, I have another saying that I say. When God called me, it was not a conference call. My job is to know the vision that he called me to and then to pursue that vision and to do it excellently, right?
I love
That's
it.
that's it. And so to women who are trying to establish something, no, you're always going to have stories. People are always going to introduce fears, introduce their own worldviews, their own limitations, what have you on you. You have to differentiate your story from other people's story and control the narrative for you. Because I'm telling you, when I first came into this industry, even as the runway realtor, I will tell you that one of the biggest challenges I've had, Rita, is knowing what I want. People actually have more of a problem with me because I know what I want.
It's so truth and so interesting. I coach a lot of people in business, no, and especially in the area of real estate because that's what I am now. So when I sit with them, one of the questions that I ask, and just to validate what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying even more, is like, what is your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Because your business, at the end of the day, at the end of goal, the goal should be not to sell, and make a bunch of money and do nothing with it. It's like, what is your purpose? Half of these people cannot tell me what is the purpose. And I lead with that when I do my coaching sessions. So I totally
And
agree with you.
and these people, when you watch them, they flip and they flop based on what's going on. Circumstances make them here today, there tomorrow. See, I'm unmoved. It doesn't matter what's going on. I'm unmoved because my vision is secure, my identity is secure, my confidence is secure. So therefore, I'm always pursuing the vision. Now, that's not to say you're not going to find hurdles. Of course,
Yeah.
life is filled with hurdles, difficulties, challenges. But when I have a vision so big, Rita, it keeps me up at night and it wakes me up in the morning. I don't have to find motivation. My why is big enough to make me get up.
How did you know that was how this vision came to you?
Again, faith, right? Like my big why
Well,
when
how did you know it was like real estate and not maybe, I don't know, being an actress
okay.
or a designer?
I actually have, so if I'm a big writer, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I write everything down. I keep journals, I do
Mm-hmm.
vision boards. I am a big visual person, and writing things down is really cathartic. And coming back to it after it's manifested is really, really huge. I would recommend anyone do that. And so again, everything that I do is rooted around my faith. I'm always asking God, what is it that you want from me? What is it that you desire for? And even in every season too, because it changes. So my greatest title above anything, above doctorate, above realtor, is a vessel. I am a vessel for God's use. So I'm always asking him, what does he desire for me to do? Where do you see me next? What should I be doing next? And so you got to be careful when you ask those questions because he'll mess around and he'll use you. So my life, if you go through my life, you'll see me in different aspects, right? You'll see me in my doctorate. You'll see me. I ran for office as councilwoman. I wrote books. I did social justice. I'm an educator. Now I'm in real estate. But God had always said to me that he was going to take me through these things. And when I remember being in school, he said, real estate is going to be what you're going to be doing next. And I was like, I don't
You
want to.
felt it in your heart.
Not only did I feel it, I had it written down. It was the last thing on my vision board that I crossed out. I knew that I was going to get into real estate, and it was on my vision board for about 7 years, but I knew it wasn't time to get into real estate. I knew that there were certain things that he wanted me to complete first. And I look back now, Rita, and I see that it had to have happened the way that it happened because everything prepared me for this moment right here. People, you ask me, well, how were you able to do this and get this quick success and win Rookie of the Year? I won 8 awards my first year in real estate, and the way that I was able to do that is like being so locked into the vision and just remembering like all the steps that he's taken me through before, right? Like I said, my books, that taught me about marketing, right? Going into newspapers and stuff, that builds confidence, relationships, networking. My background before my PhD is in psychology. So I have my bachelor's in psychology and my master's in professional counseling. So for a long time, I did therapy.
So that help you to deal with clients.
It gives me an unfair advantage.
Exactly.
Not just helps me, it gives me an unfair advantage
Exactly.
because I understand the psychology of people and their emotions and what they're dealing with.
But now it's like it's coming together, no?
Oh, yes.
Everything came together. You are very similar in the way that you think, and we are so different in the background. How I think.
Yeah.
I have an immense faith. And I a lot of certainty in my life that I'm not here alone, that, like you say, God, the creator, is behind me, with me, inside of me, within me. So everything that I do, I feel very similar like you. But what you will say, and this is interesting, I was thinking about it because how we are, and I know that there are some people that they are not like that. How would you say to somebody that doesn't believe in God, that doesn't have this faith?
Yeah.
Because for you and me, it's very easier to sit here and say, no, I'm doing this because I heard it. I know God asked me to do it. He he carried me through it, But what about maybe a sister out there or another woman out there, even an entrepreneur out there that have doesn't believe in anything? What you will say? What you will say to
That's
these people?
such a great question. I would ask that person, if you could imagine yourself doing something for the rest of your life where you were not paid, what is that thing? Because passion, I don't work for money, Rita. I work excellently, and then money follows me because I work excellently. That's available to everybody, whether you have faith or not, right?
Exactly.
So it really is about, number one, your work ethic. How do you work? Are you an excellent worker? When people are not watching, because entrepreneurship, you have nobody over your shoulder making sure you get things done. Are you a self-starter? Do you hold your own word to yourself? How do you show up for yourself in your calendar? How do you show up for your clients, or whatever niche that you are? How do you work? That's number one. And number two, what is the work? What does the work look like? What would excite you? Like I told you, I have a dream in my heart that is so real for me that I don't need a coach to wake me up in the morning to get me out of bed. I'm not saying anything about coaches. They're great. I have a coach, but whether my coach called me or didn't call me would have no bearing on me getting up. But my why is that strong. So I would ask that person, number one, to establish their why. What is the big thing that keeps them doing what they're doing? Because if you don't know that, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be doing things and you don't know why you're doing it. Maybe you're doing it just because you have to pay the bills, or you're doing it because you have a family, but that's not your big passion. And life is difficult already. I've always been of the mind that I got to do things that I'm passionate about. I can't just do things for for the actually before for 7 years, Rita, I refused to do a conventional job that I was overqualified for because I was pursuing the dream that was in my heart.
And
But
that's
that
a
was my
great
why.
advice. Yeah, that's a great advice. And I appreciate that you touched that a little bit, because a lot of people out there that I interview, sometimes, like I said, they don't know the why, they don't know the purpose, they just automatically. And another thing is because somebody else is doing it and it's a passion for me. Like last night, I told you, and another thing is like, I do what I say I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
another
is
thing.
true. I said
That's,
that to
and
someone.
we can talk later about that. But
I'm
let
not
me
saying that real quick. I'm not saying that just to say this. I was talking to someone else about you yesterday, and I gave you your flowers. And I said, one thing about Rita is she does what she says she's going to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, because that's my integrity.
Mm-hmm.
That's my one thing is my personality, but my character is another thing, no?
Yeah.
That's what it
Yes.
shows when it's difficult, no? Your
Yes.
character.
Oof, that's
No,
good. That's
it
good.
shows when it's difficult. So your personality could be one thing, but you need character in order to do
Yes.
business.
Yes.
And you have to I decided, like you do too, tied it with God and spirituality. The people that doesn't feel like that, I respect it, like you
Mm-hmm.
say, but I think the advice that you gave is so good and so on point. They need to find a why.
Mm-hmm.
They need to find a passion,
Yeah.
and they need to be excellent at it.
Yes.
And one thing that I don't like is when people make excuses. Excuses to me is one thing that I don't think is productive. It doesn't gonna get anywhere. And I think people should be accountable for those excuses at the end of the day, because it shows. So that's the difference between somebody like
Absolutely.
you, like wake up early, drive to wherever you have to go, no excuses, do whatever she needs to go to make it happen for her clients, for her vendors, for her family.
Mm-hmm.
And it cannot be easy.
It's not easy.
You have to have moments that you are like, how I do this, or
Like this
cry.
whole week.
Exactly. you know
Yeah.
I have those moments. I have moments that people think, oh, Rita, no, you have no idea. In order to do this today, I finish at 1 a.m,
Mm-hmm.
wake up at 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I did everything. No excuses.
No excuses. But
So
those
I
who don't
love
have
that.
excuses will win. But let me share something with you that
Mhm.
my OP Rich Carpentieri. I have to drop him here. I love my OP.
Shout out to him.
Shout out
We
to
love
him.
him.
Shout out to my brokerage, Keller
Yeah.
Williams Elite Partners 3 in Claremont.
Shout out to them.
One of the things that I remember my OP sharing when I first joined in real estate is stories. I'm going to go back to that in a different way, right? He said there's a difference between a lie and a story. And I thought that was interesting. He said a lie is completely fabricated. It's just not true, right? It's a lie. But a story is something that we use to tell ourselves to either keep us from doing something or excuse us from not taking action for something. So there's a lot of people, when you talk about excuses, I bring that up to talk about excuses. There's a lot of people, when they use excuses, they're telling themselves stories. The reason they can't do this is because of this. And the reason that they were not successful is because they didn't have a dad. And by the way, that's my story. The reason that, they couldn't do this is because their mom said this about them. And again, I'm not taking away from that. That's my story. But recognize that there are stories you're using to tell yourself to keep yourself from achieving a certain thing that belongs to you. When I decided that my story, the story that I wanted for myself, the success that I wanted for myself, for my family, for my future, was more important than these stories that I was telling myself and these excuses, it's easy to win. Winners win. That's the bottom line. And if you're committed to using excuses and stories, you're going to be stuck.
Yes. And it's so interesting you talk about stories and the mental health part of it.
Yeah.
Because everybody out there, I guarantee you, even in big high level positions, they have these voices that probably they're not done kind. And probably they are not done elevated or nice, but you have to talk back and push it out of your head. You have to be that type of entrepreneur, no, in order to
I
succeed.
am so glad you brought up mental health because that is so real for so many people. And again, I have the background in mental health and psychology, so I've seen that play out in real time. I've counseled people with multiple personality disorders and schizophrenia and even drug-induced psychosis, different things of that nature. And so those things are real. I have seen them. I have also personally in my own life have fought anxiety, a situation that we don't have time to go through today, but I have seen anxiety show up in my life. Here's the thing about it. It's one thing to make anxiety, or whether it's depression or whatever your mental health condition is, one thing to struggle with it and another thing to make it your identity.
Exactly.
I did not make anxiety my identity. I recognized that I was struggling with anxious thoughts. Do you see the difference? Because I did not take ownership of that. You don't know how powerful the brain is. When you assign an identity to something, you will subconsciously become it. And so I was very cautious with my words and how I used it. Oh, I'm struggling with anxious thoughts. I'm struggling with an anxiety episode or whatever it was. But I never I never said I am anxious.
And that's amazing that you say that. And I think it's so important. And I'm going to touch about this because we're already talking about mental health, entrepreneurship, how mental health affect entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah.
It's impactful, know? And sometimes people are mean or they are derogatory or they dismiss you. And you even say very clearly, it has nothing to do with me.
No.
It's you. Maybe the person is going through something really hard in their mental health.
They are
and projecting, and they don't know how to deal with that. And it will be good for those type of people to have a coach, somebody, a mentor, a friend, and a spouse that can help, a therapist that can help in that space. Because it's not for us to have to be the doormat or endure those type of situations. I see a lot. I have experienced that and see it in corporate world.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, I have seen that. And it's so interesting. It's like a taboo. Nobody
they don't want to talk about it. Let me tell you, in entrepreneurship, especially in real estate, I know other people do other things, but the work is a lot mental. Real estate is simple. It's not easy. The work is up here, being able to negotiate, being able to pivot, being able to balance so many different hats at one time That's exhausting.
Multitask.
You don't
Yeah.
even know how you're moving so fast that you don't know in real time the brain power that it's actually taking for you to be able to do that and to do that well. Even more so when you do it excellently, right? You're not just
Exactly.
haphazardly doing something. Now, with all of this in mind, going back to mental health and the way that you're able to do that, I recommend every entrepreneur see a therapist or a coach.
I
Or
love
I
that. I
recommend
love
every
that.
entrepreneur see a therapist. And I know there's you talked about being in a taboo, but therapy is not always about finding something wrong. You don't have to have a mental health condition for everything to go wrong. Sometimes you just need support. Sometimes you just need a different perspective
Or to talk.
to talk, for someone to listen
Yeah.
and to vent and to be, and for someone to validate you and to see you, right? Therapy,
Another perspective
another
too.
perspective, right? To sharpen yours or maybe confirm yours, what have you. But I recommend that every entrepreneur sees a therapist, right? Just for good. So my example is, you don't exercise only when you're going through a bad condition, right? Exercise is a lifestyle. Therapy should be a lifestyle as well.
And I agree with you, and I'm glad that we touched this mental health. This is the first time, by the way, that in my podcast we touch about that subject, and it couldn't be with a better person because your background. And so I appreciate that you actually talk a little bit about it. I always say to entrepreneurs when they first started and come to me, I always say, treat this career, entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
as a like similar like an athlete, like any athlete out
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
like high level athlete, because you're gonna need to optimize your knowledge,
Mm.
whatever you study, in this case, real estate, your mental health, your physical. I have had dates that I have ended with realtors um, doing an IV because we are exhausted at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And I say,
Yes.
let's go to restore, for example, and just get an IV, get in the cryo machine, and just like try to optimize ourselves.
Yes.
Because, or with you, like, let's go and have a good meal because we haven't eaten.
Yes.
This we cannot continue like this. Like it's a whole circle of optimization that it have to happen in order for an entrepreneur to be able to perform in a high level.
So one last thing I'm going to say to validate what you're saying, in psychology, right? When we are performing therapy with clients, the approach is a biopsychosocial spiritual approach. We never deal with a client, just a client's career, because there are other variables that could be affecting that career, family, different things. So we always want to know, what are the biological factors? What are the psychological factors? What are the social factors? What are the spiritual factors? What are the mental factors? When you deal with a person as a whole, that's when you can really treat a condition. If you don't have the whole picture, you don't have the whole story. So you're only dealing with symptoms, not the condition or the illness. Does that make
You're
sense?
putting like a bandage on it.
You're putting a bandage on it. You're
Uh-huh.
not really getting to the cure
To the
and
cure.
what's really wrong. So all those things that you said. Being an entrepreneur, is your physical health in shape? I went through a traumatic experience in 2021. If you know me, I'm always been an athletic build. I've played college sports. Maybe that's something you didn't know about
I
me.
didn't know
Yeah,
that either.
I played collegiate sports.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And I was always very athletic build. I went through a very traumatic experience, and my body was surviving. So I gained a lot of weight that's really just not my build, but my body was in survival mode. And I say this to say this too, because I'm always about empowerment. Now I'm coming back to the mind and coming back to myself. And how you talk to yourself is very important. I don't say to myself, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm coming back to myself, is what I say.
And I love that because and I want to kind of like pivot from that also and kind of like insert a thought there because for me, I'm a single mom. And I don't want to be continue like I caught myself couple of times calling myself a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no, that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that label.
Yeah, remember that identity
The
and taking
identity.
ownership.
Exactly. I am not a single mom. I'm a mom. That's a better identity for me. I'm going to end it eventually with a partner because it's part of what I want and what I know God wants for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I want somebody that is equally yoked. I want
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I want to make I want to let God to lead that
Mm-hmm.
and in that space, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I have done so much work for me to talk kindly to myself.
Most people fail here.
And in entrepreneurship, I see people and they felt that. Like in the morning, I say, "You look beautiful this morning," to myself, or I will say something like, "Gosh, I look back at the week, you kill it."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
you
important.
deserve, like, I love pho, like the soup. And sometimes I call a friend and say, "I want a pho," and I'm eating it, and I'm like, I deserve this, you
Yes.
know, because it was so hard the whole
Yes.
week. So
Yes.
I'm starting, and that's a practice that I have done for the past years. That is really full. It made my heart so full. Like, to be honest with you. So let's talk. Let's pivot a little bit here and talk about real estate.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you're seeing right now in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the market is different, probably like a couple of years ago. So what you should buyers know, agents, sellers, paying attention to? What do you think they need to know right now if somebody's going to buy a house or sell a house?
So in Central Florida right now, we're
Mhm.
seeing a balanced market, which means there's inventory for buyers, but there's also opportunities for sellers. But we are seeing it lean more towards buyers.
Yes.
So for buyers right now, it is a really good time to buy the right real estate. I think I think buyers hear this so much from agents, they've become desensitized. Like, oh, it's always a good time to buy real estate. But no, it really is, right? Like, again, just thinking about assets and money and ownership, these conversations change your mind when you're thinking about what to purchase. But for buyers right now, the inventory's up in Central Florida. So that means you have a lot more options, which means that you're going to be able to get a lot more incentives. So seller concessions, you're going to get away with some repairs. You're going to be, you're going to get away with maybe a low interest rate, depending on if you want new construction, or even being able to negotiate that. So you have a lot of negotiating power if you are a buyer in Central Florida right now.
That's amazing.
Sellers also have an advantage because I hear in the market, well, houses are not selling right now. And I ask them, well, if the buyers are buying, who's buying it?
Exactly.
Right? So houses are selling, but the houses that are selling are the houses that are priced correctly in this market. So I empathize with sellers because a lot of times they have a number in mind when they're thinking about selling their property, right? And most of the time they're trying to recoup back what it took for them, or maybe what they spent in the house to upgrade the home. So they're trying to recoup, or if they have to move, different circumstances, they have a number in mind. And so this is a message to agents as well. The best thing that you can do for your clients is to educate them. Do not be so hungry and thirsty to get a listing that you'll just say, okay, and you don't work as a consultant. I don't work as a salesman. I am a professional consultant. I'm
I
here
love
to
that.
interpret the data for you so that you can make an informed decision at the end of the day. I don't have a stake in how much your house is going to sell. I'm here to interpret the data for you, what the data and the market is saying your house is going to sell for. And so I'm not the type of agent that's going to tell a seller any number they want to hear just to take their listing. And also, I'm not a listing agent. I'm a selling agent.
So do you do that at the beginning, that you're upfront with it? Because
Absolutely.
I feel like I will be very upfront.
Absolutely. From the very beginning,
Beginning.
I set expectations with them,
Mhm.
and I also show them, like, I don't, different people do CMAs do differently, but I do mine live so they can see where the numbers are coming from. It's not a magic, it's not mystic,
Mm.
it's not a hidden thing. I show them so they can see their comps. I can show them, they can see around their neighborhoods what other houses have sold for. I'll go back 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120, 80 days for them to see what other properties in the market are. Now, I know every seller thinks their home is the best on the market, right? And I get it. But if property B is the same as yours and has sold for 500,000 and you want 700,000 for yours, the best thing that I can do as an agent is to inform you and realistically tell you that that's not where the market is right now. Now, maybe it sells at 700,000 in a different market. But in today's market, I got to give you today's stats. And I think a lot of agents are not doing that, and they're not prepping their sellers. And so a lot of times they're taking their listing, putting it at whatever price their seller wants to do that. And you know what that happens? The market is wonky, right? Houses are sitting longer because they're not priced well.
Exactly.
When you list a home and it doesn't sell in 30 days, the market is telling you that's not the right price for the home.
Exactly. Do you feel like, and I appreciate you say that, and I think people know that, and the agents should know that, but are you willing to walk away? Is that the power?
Oh, well, that's knowing who you are. My
Because
value is not in getting, I have no value in getting your listing that does not sell.
exactly.
That's called a listing agent. I am not a
Mhm.
listing agent. I am a selling agent. If I take your listing, I intend for it to sell. So if I set those expectations early, and I think what's happening with the agents is they're not having those conversations early on because they're scared of what the seller is going to say, or maybe they're scared they're going to lose the listing. You can't be scared to lose that. That, to me, when I go to listing appointments, it's not a guarantee that I'm going to represent you. I know agents think it's the other way around. You're going to go win the appointment. I, though, as the agent, have to make a determination if this is going to be a good fit for us at the
And
end
I
of the day.
love that. I love that because that's a model that I do in my own business. I don't want to work with everybody.
No,
I'm sorry. I might not be the right fit, or where we will not be the right fit.
no.
And that's
That's
okay.
okay.
You know?
And I'm happy to refer you to someone else who might be a
Sorry.
better fit.
Mm-hmm.
But again, my standard, I've built a brand that's reputable. People see me. I do what I
Mm-hmm.
say I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
My clients have spoken for me.
Mm-hmm.
My reviews speak for me. So if someone is coming to work with me, they know it's because of what I'm able to do. So when you hire me to do a job, you have to be able to let me do that job, and you have to trust. That's another thing too. Do you trust me? Because if you don't trust me, the relationship might not be the best thing. Do you trust me to advise you and here's the other thing. I am incentivized to sell your home for the highest it can sell, right? The
To
higher
get a
it sells, I
commission.
get.
By the way, whoever
Correct.
doesn't know this, agents, real estate agents, most likely they work based on commission.
Right.
So nobody else have more incentive there
Then the
than the
realtors.
realtor, than the agent.
I am incentivized to sell your property for the highest. So if I go in here and I consult you and I tell you, Mrs. Seller, I've taken a look at your property. Here's what the market says, and I know you were hoping for 650,000, but the market's saying right now it's at 545. Do you think I'm going to purposely cut $100,000 from what my commission could be? No, that makes no sense. Obviously, it's because I care about you and I care about how I interpret the market. So again, you can make an informed decision. And really, the seller's decision is to decide, is this the market that I want to sell in?
Exactly. And I think that that's what leadership also comes in place, because in this type of business, you are your own boss.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be able to stand up and be a leader. And have to have the difficult conversations and be respected. Do not accept disrespect
No,
because of a commission.
no.
I will I don't know how people can do it, but I will not tolerate that. And you being young, you being a female, the moment, have you ever have an encounter with a client that kind of like went away that you didn't like and you put it there?
No,
You
because I
see?
set my
Because you set
expectations
expectations.
so early on that they understand if we're going to work together, there's a standard, there's boundaries, there's procedures in place, and I set them so clearly up front from the very first conversation. It would be bizarre, right,
Yeah,
for it to enter in, and when it did, I would terminate that
yeah.
relationship because I don't
Immediately.
tolerate
Yeah,
disrespect because I don't
I
dish it
love it.
out.
I love
So,
it. I love it. So let's talk, and I appreciate you say this, because this conversation might help a new agent out there. You know,
I hope so.
yeah, I think so, because like when we first come out of the gate, we're desperate, no?
Mhm.
Some of them, they
Mhm.
just want that listing. They
Yeah.
just do whatever.
Yeah.
They just bend great
They're
length.
just trying to get their feet wet.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And maybe listening to you explaining how you did it and how you do it, and the things that you set up expectations and the things that you will not tolerate, I think, and the success that is
Mhm.
attached with that,
Yeah.
I think it's an eye opener for a lot. It could be an eye opener. So let's talk about your legacy. You mentioned legacy.
Yeah.
What that will be, how it looks like.
Well, in every season of my life, I'm doing different things, so I'm always
Mhm,
building a legacy, right? So in my family, I'm the
mhm,
first in my lineage on both sides to
mhm,
get a PhD, right? That's legacy.
mhm,
You know, now the people who've come after me, so I don't have kids of my own yet, but I have 21 nieces and nephews.
That's crazy, 21. I
Well,
saw
they're
some
all
of
like
them.
mine, yes.
I saw them in a video. They are beautiful and they are extremely proud. Like they look up to you.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And that's legacy though. I didn't have that growing up to see who to look up to, and and I'm not saying that to shame anyone. That just wasn't my story. So I told you, like I said, if you don't come from something, it should come from you. I've become that person or that thing that they can look into their own family tree, people that they know, people that they've interacted with, and say, oh, that's possible for me. So I teach them early on, listen, the story that you tell yourself is the only story that matters. So them watching me is the joy in seeing them being able to accomplish and go out and do because they've seen it done. That's the legacy that I'm trying to lead by.
I love it.
The
It's
books
beautiful.
that I've written, and then now in real estate. So wealth, I've always said, if you really know me, you know that really wealth for me is about philanthropy. I want to be wealthy enough to change people's lives, to just make people's lives.
It's beautiful.
That's just what I live to do, and not then, live to change my family's life. So, doing my part at home first. And again, there's a tendency for greatness to want to go out into the world first, but greatness starts at home, in your community,
I would like to see
where
you
are.
with a family, with kids. And I don't know, but God is giving me out, and we're gonna revise this conversation
It's
in a
coming.
couple of years with a little girl,
It's coming.
just like you.
I've been seeing. That's so
I
funny.
saw it. I saw it right now. I saw it. So I just want to
receive
let you
it.
know that I can know it's gonna have that spunk like you
I
have. It's
receive
gonna
it.
be like a mini you. I will love it. So anyway, I want to do a rapid fire,
Okay.
something fun, so people can get to know you a little bit better. So without whatever first come to your mind, quickly.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw questions at you,
Okay.
and I don't want you to think too much to it. It's just rapid.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start. One book that changed your life.
The Bible.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Heels or sneakers?
Both of them.
One word that describe you.
Bold.
Biggest risk you ever took.
Real estate after my PhD.
Best advice you ever received.
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
What does success mean to you?
Making God proud.
Amen. I love it. I love it. I love it. Dr. Joa, it's been a pleasure to have you at the 10 Time the Spotlight Rita Moon
Thank you
Show.
for having me. This was excellent.
No, it's beautiful, no? It's beautiful. I get a lot of joy to put the spotlight in entrepreneurs, and you are one that stood up for me a long time ago, since the moment that I met you.
Thank you.
I felt a connection, and I felt like we need to show the world this woman. It's what you're doing is amazing, and becoming friends for me, I take it to heart, and I'm excited to see what else you're gonna do. So thank you again for being at the show, the 10 Time the Spotlight Show by Rita Moon. And if anything for the audience, anything that we talk today here, we discuss interests you, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
much.